Okay. All right, well, welcome to the last of our speaker series for 2023. Thank you to all you who have shown up in person and to the many on Zoom. I hope you will enjoy our presentation. And first I'd like to thank our president, Dana Wilson, for coordinating the Zoom programming, and to our tech guru, Violet Fletcher, for doing our recording. Later on this fall, we will have our entire series available online. And we'll let everybody know how to do that. We're learning ourselves, so we'll get that all up for you. Just a little business, while these programs are free to you, there is a slight cost of programming to us, so we would appreciate a small donation on your way out the door. That helps us get just a little bit into our piggy bank. I would be willing to bet that those, oh, by the way, I'm Kay Wilder. And we have our two trustees, Julia O'Brien Merrill and Judah Eastwood, have been showing you to your seats. I'd be willing to bet that those of you with small children or grandchildren who were around this summer were wondering what the heck is going on over at the aquarium. Why can't I go to the aquarium? So today we're pleased to have the person who can answer those questions. Dottie Yunger is a marine biologist at DMR with a very long title, so I'm going to read it. In addition to being the Education Division Director of the Maine Department of Resources, Dottie manages the Maine State Aquarium and Learning Lab and Burnt Island Light. Dottie's going to fill us in on some of the facility redesign plans, as well as what's new with their educational program. She'll answer your questions when she's done. And welcome, Dottie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it a problem for folks if I sit? I have a broken foot. And so it would help me if I could sit.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. If you are wondering what is going on with the aquarium and why isn't it open, you are not the only ones. My husband has befriended one of the clerks at the Hannafords in Damerscott. They talk about their kids and what's going on in their lives, and she was asking him, why did he move to Maine? Oh, my wife got a job at DMR. Oh, what does she do? Oh, she works in the education division. Oh, what does that mean? Oh, she's the director of the aquarium. Oh, that's great. That means it's open now, right? No. And every time he goes to the grocery store and she asks, he has to say no. And so I am looking forward, as much as you all are, to the aquarium being open and being able to tell the people in Hannaford, at the very least, that we are. I'm Dottie, the education director. And I just want to give you some frame of reference. The education division is within the Department of Marine Resources. And the education division comprises the Maine State Aquarium, our learning lab, which is an adjacent classroom on the property, and the Burnt Island, which is a 5-acre island off of Southport, it's technically in Southport, that the Department of Marine Resources owns and manages, right? So that's a mouthful. I'm here to talk about the education division in general and just sort of give you an overview of that, and then how the aquarium fits in, and talk about the redesign of the aquarium. And there is a poster over here of what the actual redesign plans will look like. But first, so let's start with the education division in and of itself. And I will make sure that I keep track of the time. I want to make sure that we have time for questions. I am also a pastor, so things can very quickly turn into a sermon for me. And my husband isn't here to pull the fire alarm if I start going on too long. So I do want to make sure we have time for questions. I moved here from Maryland about 2 years ago, The aquarium had already been closed for COVID. Elaine Jones, who is my predecessor, had retired after a long and faithful career at the Department of Marine Resources and running Burnt Island and the Discovery Center and the Maine State Aquarium. She's the reason we have a Maine State Aquarium. She's the reason we have Burnt Island and all the facilities on it. And I can talk about that in a moment. At that time, all the animals were surplus. They just hired a new aquarist, but it was COVID and she wasn't able to move here with her family. Long story short, I came on, aquarium had been closed. It's my job to get it up and running. But I wanted to take a little bit of time when I first arrived to talk to the community about what the aquarium meant to the community and how the community used the aquarium. And we did some community listening sessions. I see Jean McKay here. Jean was part of one of those listening sessions. And I wanted to hear, again, how people had been using the aquarium and what they wanted in going forward. And I heard three things very clearly. People wanted access to the facilities run by DMR, and that was the aquarium, Burnt Island, the learning lab, and the research that was the research labs that are at the Boothbay lab where the aquarium is located. So people wanted access to our facilities. They wanted access to our research, and they wanted access to our researchers. And so the Education Division decided those are the areas where we will focus on. There are so many other great organizations doing really great and important work. We don't need to compete with that. What can we bring to the table? What can we bring to the community that is unique and can help tell a larger story about how unique the Gulf of Maine ecosystem is? So the Education Division is really, I view this as we are the portal or the gateway for the public to access the Department of Marine Resources and what we do and why we do it. So this is an aerial view of our campus. Again, the Education Division is the aquarium here, the learning lab, so it used to be called the Discovery Center. It's a large room. Elaine had the foresight to claim this space on the property when it became available and turned it into a science classroom for groups, a place where field trips, other groups, teachers could really come and do hands-on activities. Libby, I see Libby here, right? Libby knows, has brought students, right? She knows exactly the kinds of programs they were able to offer in this classroom. So it includes the aquarium, the learning lab, and then Burnt Island. How many of you have been out to Burnt Island? Excellent. I was just there today for our Department of Marine Resources annual meeting. As I was packing up the chairs and the sunscreen and my sunglasses, my husband said to me, "I thought you were going to work today." And I said, "I am. I just happen to live and work in a really beautiful place with really beautiful resources like Burnt Island." And again, Elaine Jones had the foresight when islands with historic lighthouses became available through a whole program that actually Jean and Libby can talk about more accurately than I can. But it was an effort to make sure that historic lighthouses with historic islands with historic lighthouses remained open to the public. All right, and so the Department of Marine Resources has the deed to this 5-acre island. And over the years, the department, along with the keepers of the Burnt Island Lighthouse, 2 of whom are here, have just done an amazing job of restoring the facilities that are already on the island, the lighthouse, the lightkeepers' quarters, and then also having built an education center that's there with a large classroom for school groups, for teacher groups to do workshops and programs. There are 2 wings upstairs with bunk beds that sleep 30. There's a full kitchen, washer and dryer, showers. It's a really lovely facility that has been used in many ways, and we just want to continue to make it accessible to the public. There's a dock that's there. Any of you have docked your boats? Sometimes that can be a little sketchy, right? The department has monies to put in a new dock. And so that is a process that is underway, all in an effort to keep the island available as a resource to the public. This brings us to the aquarium. So essentially the aquarium has been closed for 3 years between COVID, staffing changes, and then renovations that we have begun doing to the building. It's a 30-year-old building. I don't know about you, but when I hit 30, I started to show my age. And you have a building that is that age in a saltwater environment, it is bound to start showing its age. So we very quickly realized that the space needed a new floor. It needed new electrical wiring. It needed new walls. It needed new lighting. Nobody was expecting that. And if anybody has done home repairs on an older home, you start pulling it off the wallpaper and looking behind the walls. I just moved a cabinet in the house we just bought to be surprised by a huge mold patch right behind it, right? That's what started happening when we went into the space to reopen the aquarium. The process of doing those renovations and repairs took, 1, caught everybody by surprise, and 2, took longer than we thought they would, right? So that set us back. That's why we didn't open last summer. Then, we did the repairs, and what also happened in that period of time leading up to this summer when we had planned to be open was that we were very fortunate to be able to get monies from the supplemental budget that went before the governor and the legislature to redo exhibits, to redesign exhibits. And that came in just a few months before we were to reopen, which was great. And it meant that we could redesign bigger. But it also meant that we weren't going to be able to get that done in time for a summer opening. So what we did, and hopefully some of you were able to participate, that's fine. What we decided to do is we didn't want to stay completely closed another summer. So we opened for the week of the Windjammer Festival. That first day, we had 746 people show up. I was not expecting that, but it was great to see. Right? And so we had our touch tanks set up, we had arts and crafts for the kids, we had our scientists there talking about their research, we had various stations set up, we had fish painting happening. We decided we would do 2 of these open houses for the rest of the summer, and then we also have a Maine Conservation Corps environmental steward with us through November. She came to help us design our programs and open the aquarium. On her first day, she found out we weren't opening. And she said, it doesn't matter, I still want to do programs. So let's do a program once a week. And so we said, sure. So we've been doing a program on Thursdays for an hour on various topics. When the summer ended, we decided, let's keep doing it. And so I can show you the schedule. You can go online to our website. You can go on Facebook and Instagram to see the schedule. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we're doing a program about living fossils. It'll be in our learning lab. You're welcome to come. We're also going to do them on Saturdays as well, so the public can attend, the community can come. Let me talk about the redesigned space. How many people have been to the aquarium? How many, right? I've been to the aquarium, I've never seen it open. Isn't that awesome? Right? So let me just walk you through this space. This is where you come in the front door, right? And this is the admissions area that's right here. So in the redesign, this is what we're calling our lobster alcove, which will focus on lobsters in the Gulf of Maine, the place that they have in that ecosystem, the research that the department is doing around lobsters, and the commercial lobster industry and how important that is in the Gulf of Maine and to communities here, right, and across the world, where, right, I have some friends who from Maryland who I think are watching on Zoom because they found out about this and yeah, love to have their lobsters from Maine shipped to them. So, right, we know that our lobster industry has a large reach, even just outside the state of Maine. In this section, it'll be designed to look like the working waterfront in Boothbay Harbor. There'll be a pier up here, and then pilings below, and then tanks set underneath that pier where we can have animals that you would find living in the harbor, living amongst the piers. There'll be the aft end of a lobster boat, a working lobster boat. Kids will be able to get on the boat, pull up a lobster trap, pull out fake lobsters, learn how to band them, learn the legal size of them, how DMR manages lobster landings, how we collect all that data. That's this section here. Along this wall, so if you've been to the aquarium and you know there were then these larger tanks that were along this wall set into the rockwork. Did I mention we had to do a lot of repairs to the building and that the floor had to be replaced? That meant everything had to come out. Everything.